What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And my God, we are actually talking about the Philadelphia Flyers somehow being near a 500 record. What are they, 16, 18, and 7 after this past win against the Buffalo Sabres on the second half of a back-to-back? Samuel Ersson gets himself a shutout, and he continues to look really strong in his first so many games in a Flyers uniform in his NHL basically debut at this point. He gets himself his first career shutout of his NHL career. He almost had one against the Anaheim Ducks, yet the Flyers choked that, shutout in the end of the game during, the game in Anaheim. But they managed to go against a Buffalo team after getting their asses smacked by the Toronto Maple Leafs last night in Philadelphia. They go into Buffalo today. A very young Buffalo squad. They show a lot of promise for the future. First time shutting them out this season. Well, it's the first time Buffalo has been shut out this season, and it's the first Flyers shutout of the year. Good for Samuel Ersson. He's looked really good. He looked really good today, especially when the Flyers broke down so many times in this game, and Buffalo had so many chances in the offensive zone. Sam Ersson stood strong. He looked really good. And he's showcasing himself that he could possibly be legit along with Carter Hart. Now that, the future is Carter Hart, but it's, nice to see that you possibly have a solid backup there, and maybe a goaltender that does have NHL starter potential in a guy like Sam Ersson. And it's going to be really hard to make an excuse to send him back down to Lehigh Valley when, Felix Sandstrom comes back from his injury. So that's definitely something to look into on that standpoint. Ersson has looked really good. But overall, if we're looking at this Flyers team from a whole entire fan base perspective, you're saying to yourself as a fan going into the season, you wanted to rebuild, and it's, been hinted at, a few times from John Tortorella. He has brought up the rebuild word. I think in total that's what he wants to do, but, I guess right now maybe they're feeling the John Tortorella magic. They're winning games, but also they're playing a lot of teams that are not, in the upper echelon of the National Hockey League. They've won 5 of their last 6. A lot of those games, on the West Coast, they were playing San Jose's, Arizona's, the Anaheims of the world. They did get a win against the Los Angeles Kings. They're a good young team in this league. So definitely, if you're looking at this Flyers team as a whole, they're nowhere near bad as the basement of the league that there is this year, because there are a lot of bad teams in the National Hockey League this year. A lot of teams that are tanking to try to get Connor Bedard, first overall pick in the NHL draft. Connor Bedard, a sensational franchise-altering pick, and I'm going to be absolutely jealous of that team that gets to select him in the draft this upcoming summer. If the Flyers are in even a spot for the draft lottery, they got to pray to every type of goddamn hockey god out there in the world for those ping pong balls to land in the proper spot for them to win the draft lottery, because I do not expect this Flyers team to win the draft lottery if they're even in that position. I don't believe that is going to be the case. Yeah, they might still be a bottom 10 team in the league. They're definitely, if you're looking at the Flyers right now, they're a bad team, but they're not as bad as the basement of the league, if you know what I mean. They're a bad team, but they're a bad team with structure, meaning that when they're going to go up against, some of these teams that are bad, teams like San Jose, teams like Arizona, teams like Chicago. Chicago is terrible. Anaheim's terrible. San Jose is terrible. If they go up against those type of teams, they're still going to beat them, because John Tortorella behind the bench, he brings structure, he brings a process. There's still some players on this team. Travis Konecny is having a fantastic bounce back year. He's on, I think, a 9-game point streak or something like that. He just had his goal streak snapped. I believe it was a 5-6 game goal streak or something like that. He's been playing really good this year, even though he did get snubbed from the All-Star team. Most likely, I can kind of see him getting in eventually, if it's by the fan vote, or most likely you're going to be seeing a lot of players, because not a lot of the big names go to the All-Star game anymore. So most likely you'll see, if it's even possible, Travis Konecny get in there as a sub. That's something that's probably going to happen. Kevin Hayes made it through the league vote or something like that. So Kevin Hayes is the Flyers All-Star representative. I know a lot of the Flyers fans got pissed off that Travis Konecny was not voted into the All-Star game. But at the end of the day, that's all less I can care about the NHL All-Star game. John Tortorella said it himself as well. It's just, right now, I'm so apathetic towards this team, because I want that first overall pick so badly. I want Connor Bedard so badly because that could be something that's so franchise altering for this team, something that they desperately need. They need that high-end talent. They just need it. And I have no idea what the hell's going to be happening with Chuck Fletcher. I know there's still rumors about this. Ownership still has no idea what process they want to go into, what the hell they want to do with Chuck Fletcher and everything like that. There's rumors that, oh, is he possibly going to be fired? Or is he just going to lose the GM title and he just stays with the president of hockey operations and then someone steps in as the GM that makes the moves? So that's definitely something that you got to look into down the road. I hope Chuck Fletcher still isn't the GM of this team. He shouldn't be the GM of this team because he's one of the reasons why this goddamn team is in this spot in the first place. A lot of things with this team annoys me. It does. They can't lose properly. But there's still, like, players that I don't hate on this team. Like, I love the fact that Travis Konecny's having this season that he's having. It's a good sign. Maybe he meshes well with John Tortorella's system. He's the type of player that John Tortorella loves. He's the guy that gets in your face. He's basically, the rat of the team, basically. That's the type of guy John Tortorella loves. There's some other guys that I like on this team. I liked, what Owen Tippett was managed to showcase of himself. He's been looking solid this year. Carter Hart's still not the issue with this team. Even though he's had, his, spurts of off games, he's nowhere near the issue. He's had his his bad spurts of games. He's had plenty more, way more of his dominant games in the games where he looks really good. Carter Hart is nowhere near the issue. He is still the future of the net of this team. As honestly, surprisingly, when the Flyers actually figure out their goaltending and have some nice goaltending prospects in the system, along with Carter Hart being your franchise guy, the rest of the team has no idea what it's doing. My God. I just don't know with this team. Rasmus Ristolainen is Rasmus Ristolainen. There's rumors about Ivan Provorov that constantly happen, even though these have been happening for years. There's been more rumors coming out day by day. There was one from Elliot Freeman talking about there's frustration within the Flyers organization with Ivan Provorov, because if you're looking at the year Travis Konecny's having, they were kind of hoping that Ivan Provorov would be looking to bounce back, but he kind of looks like the same defenseman that he has been for the past few years, basically since the COVID season, the COVID-shortened season, not the one where the Flyers lost in the bubble, the one after that. He's basically been looking like the same exact defenseman since then. But, so there's mutual frustration there. He's not happy with the team's not happy with him, and Elliot Freeman talking about, is there possibly a chance for Provorov to get the change of scenery in the near future? Most likely with Provorov's contract, I think Elliot Freeman said he has like 2 years left on his contract at like a $6.75 million cap hit. So, if I'm looking at Ivan Provorov, if there's at the deadline, if there's an offer that a team gives the Flyers that they absolutely cannot refuse, yeah, I would trade Provorov. He's probably one of the only players on your team that you're probably going to get a good package for, because I'm sure he's still a very young defenseman in this league. He's chucked a lot of minutes in this league. There's going to be one team that looks into that potential that he could possibly be and probably buy into that. He's still very young. What is he, like 25, 26 probably, if I look at Ivan Provorov? Probably should have brought this up earlier, but how old is Ivan Provorov? I know he's got to be at least 25. Yeah, he's 25 years old. So right now, that's basically, at that point, he's still a very young defenseman. He could play your first pair, second pair, whatever. Even though personally, at this point in his career, I think he's a second pair defenseman, because he just really has not shown what he's capable of, basically, since the 2019-20 season when he was really good with Matt Niskanen. Really hasn't been the same defenseman since. But like I said, if there's a trade at the trade deadline that a team offers you, a package that you can't simply refuse, hopefully it's not Chuck Fletcher accepting that package. But like I said, if that's the case at the trade deadline, I would do it. But Ivan Provorov seems like he's more of a off-season type of move, if you know what I mean. Kevin Hayes, basically been in towards his doghouse the entire year, even though he's having probably statistically to start the season, one of the best seasons of his entire career. Kevin Hayes, he's second on the team in points, 36 points in 40 games played, 10 goals, 26 assists. Like I said earlier, he is the Flyers representative for the All-Star game. He's been in towards his doghouse a ton. Is there a chance that Kevin Hayes could possibly be out of town? He would have to waive his no-trade clause unless he has a modified no-trade clause. He would have to accept that team's really not going to take that cap hit. If the Flyers are willing to be bad for a couple of years, maybe eat some salary. There's still a lot of options that you can talk about with that situation. Is Kevin Hayes more of an offseason type of deal? Most likely. Or if there's a team that really desperately needs a center, a guy that could play second or third line center, and they give you a package that you can't refuse in the deadline, and you retain some salary to get maybe a little more, yeah, there's probably something there too. Like, there are some... Like, I still believe there's some pieces on this team, definitely. There's some players that do stand out more than others. Like I said, Travis Konecny having a fantastic year. Owen Tippett, he's got 12 goals on the season, 21 points in 35 games. I thought he's been really solid. Joel Farabee has actually been pretty solid the past couple of weeks. After his very slow start to the season, maybe his off-season surgery is finally healing properly, and he's probably getting closer to 100%. He scored a couple of goals in, the past couple of weeks, so maybe he's getting somewhere close. Morgan Frost has looked, pretty more solid in the past few games, or past few weeks, so they're showing some signs there, but still not going to get all uppity on that entire standpoint. JVR, he's going to be gone at the trade deadline, final year of his contract. Noah Cates scores a goal today. I think overall, if you're looking at a young guy that's coming in and really showcasing himself, I think Noah Cates has looked pretty solid, especially with the two-way side of the game. Very good defensively, very good in his own zone, and he can also play drive too. Would you like the points to be up there more, but Tortorella is trying to make him into that, two-way type of center. And Noah Cates has been really working well in that type of process. So I like a Noah Cates, but he's at best a third-line center in this league. If you're talking about high-end talent, the Flyers really lack in that department, obviously. Some other guys on this team, Cam York, after getting his call-up, he's actually been really good. 8 points in 13 games. He's a +8 on the team. He's actually been really good since that call-up. So that's definitely something to look at, too, going forward. Rasmus Ristolainen, 2 points in 33 games. He sucks. I can't believe a lot of us tried to brainwash ourselves into thinking that, maybe it was just Buffalo that was causing him to be that bad. No, he's that bad. We got him for how many more years? How many more years do we have Rasmus Ristolainen for? Let me bring up the Flyers cap friendly and just look at that crap. Because, my God, look at Rasmus Ristolainen. We have him for another 4 fucking years after this. My God. And a $5.1 million cap hit. Oh, boy. And if you're looking at the defense, Sanheim's contract starts next year. We got 8 years of Travis Sanheim. And it's not to say that Travis Sanheim is bad. He's not someone you commit 8 years to. He just isn't. And when you sign Sanheim to that contract, York's contract expires, even though he's not going to garner much money whatsoever. Does Ivan Provorov become the odd man out? I would expect that. I'd probably say the biggest guy to be out of Philadelphia by next season is Ivan Provorov. JVR 2. Maybe you could factor in Kevin Hayes into that as well. So there are some pieces that could definitely be moved. Hart, still good. Sam Ersson showing a case that he is really good as well. Felix Stanstrom, his numbers are... I don't think he's been bad, even though his numbers, he's an 888 save percentage, but I don't know how to judge Felix Sandstrom, in my honest opinion. Ersson's been way better, no doubt, but I don't know how to judge him. But I still don't think there's really no way to argue that Sam Ersson should go back down to Lehigh Valley. That's just my opinion on that standpoint. But yeah, there's Tony DeAngelo. He's what you expect. He's a guy that can quarterback a power play. He's going to be good offensively, not that good in the defensive zone. It's basically what he is advertised as. Scott Lawton. He's Scott Lawton. We basically know what he is at this point. Travis Sanheim, he's got 14 points in 40 games. There's really nothing to fourth line, Zach McHugh and all that crap. This team is just... They're bad. They're still a very bad team. They're not as bad as the bottom echelon of the league. Like I said, they're not as bad as San Jose. They're not as bad as Anaheim. They're not as bad as Columbus. Even though Columbus is very injured, that's probably one of the only reasons why Columbus is that bad as they are. If Columbus was healthy, they'd probably be in the same boat where the Flyers are, hovering around 500. They're not as bad as Chicago, because Chicago is that bad. Chicago is dreadful. Dreadful. And honestly, I hope they don't win the draft lottery because honestly, they don't deserve the draft lottery after all the crap that happened last year, all the the shit that came out about everything, all that happened. Don't want to get into that again. They definitely don't deserve it after all that shit the organization pulled. I don't know. Like I said, I'm apathetic towards this team. But there's is there a light at the end of the tunnel? I have no idea. But there is something that I do want to talk about that I actually do like about the team. And it's not in reference to the Flyers on the ice. It's a reference that what could possibly come up for the future. And that is Cutter Gauthier. I love me some Cutter Gauthier. Saw him in the World Juniors, Team USA. Even though he didn't put the best showcasing up, like nothing flashy or anything like that, I still thought he had a pretty solid tournament overall. Ended up winning bronze medal for Team USA, beating Sweden in the bronze medal game. They went up against Team Canada, kind of got screwed over with a couple of goaltender interference calls there, in my honest opinion. Canada ends up winning the gold medal, Connor Bedard doing literally everything on the ice, making me absolutely jealous that we're most likely not going to be able to draft him, because honestly, that's not what's going to happen. Flyers are not going to be able to draft Connor Bedard. Even if they're in a position to win the draft lottery, they're not going to win the draft lottery. This team just doesn't do that. They simply don't. Connor Bedard's going to end up going to a team like the San Jose Sharks or the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hell, the Anaheim Ducks. Or the Arizona Coyotes, and he plays in a college arena. Welcome to the NHL, kid. Playing in a college arena for the next few seasons. Maybe Connor Bedard pulls an Eric Lindros and does not want to play for the Arizona Coyotes. But that's besides the point. Cutter Gauthier, he's good. He's a really good prospect. And I do think there's a lot of potential for him. And like I said, I don't think he had the best World Junior tournament. Still, he put up 10 points. 10 points in 7 games, 4 goals, 6 assists. Yeah, but he compared that to Connor Bedard, he put up 23 points. He broke Eric Lindros' record for most points for Team Canada in the World Junior Tournament. Yeah, Connor Bedard's on a whole different level than Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier is good. He's not Connor Bedard. He's not Connor Bedard. Jimmy Snuggerud, Logan Cooley, he was also, Cutter Gauthier was playing with those guys as well. Those guys had a really good tournament, especially Logan Cooley for Team USA. But if you look at Cutter Gauthier for Boston College, he's been really good. I think he was Freshman of the Week, Player of the Week, I believe, or something like that. He has 18 points in 14 games for Boston College, 11 goals, 7 assists. He had himself a nice goal in the first game after the bronze medal tournament, or the bronze medal game back with Boston College in the outdoor game in Fenway Park. Absolute snipe of a shot, and he had the little bat swing celebration. Love me some Cutter Gauthier. Dude just, I don't know, I just like him. I love him. I love what he's able to do. I love his potential. And I'm looking at it, elite prospects right here. And this is his, report. He's so good defensively, using his body well along the boards and in the corners to win puck battles and move up the ice. Offensively, he is incredibly efficient. The puck is on his stick and off his stick in transition, but he also recognizes when he has pockets of space to initiate offense himself. Cutter Gauthier is unafraid to drive the puck to the net and protects the puck nicely when he chooses to do so. He also has himself a nice one-timer on the power play on the left side. Nice 1T going right past. He had a couple of those in the World Junior Tournament. I believe it wasn't against Team Canada. I believe it was a couple of games before that or something like that. I think it was the game before they played Canada. Not the qualifier games, one of the elimination games. I forget who they played, but it was one of those games where he had a nice one-timer on the power play, where he scored a couple of goals. I think it was one of those games where USA won 11-0 or something like that, or they scored 10+ goals in the elimination game. So Cutter Gauthier is good. I think he's really good. Provides speed. He can play drive. He can drive the net. He has a nice shot, electric shot. Can do basically everything. He's good. I think he's going to be good for this franchise for a long time. None the level of Connor Bedard, though. Still, like I said, I'm going to be salivating if the Flyers ever get that chance to draft him, which even though I don't expect them to, because that's this franchise's luck. This team. Wanted them to lose to get in the best possible position. It's It's like, good for them they're winning. Like, good for them. But it's not what this team needs to do. It's not the best possible position for this team, in my honest opinion, is to, even out, be a 500 team, not make the playoffs, and then possibly not even be in the position to be in the draft lottery. Because with the new draft lottery rules, you can only move up 10 spots. You can only move up 10 spots. And that's starting from what, pick like 11, 12 or something like that. The highest you can move is to second overall. Well, the highest, you can only win the first or the second overall pick now. It's not the 1, 2, or the 3. And the most you can move is 10 spots. So that's basically from spot 12 on, basically. If you're in spot 12, the highest you can move is the second overall pick. Spot 11, highest you can move is most likely 1. So you would need to be at least in the 11th overall pick range. And that is what? The 11th worst team in the league. And if you're looking at the entire league right now, just to see where the Flyers stand, they are the 8th worst team in the league. And if you're looking at the teams around them, Ottawa, Detroit, Florida, Nashville, they're the teams that are above them. The Flyers are tied with Ottawa and Detroit. Looking at some of the teams that are below the Flyers, Vancouver, they're 2 points behind them. Montreal, 4 points. San Jose, 7 points. Arizona, 8 points. Anaheim, they're really bad. They're 11 points behind. Columbus is really bad. Like I said, they're really riddled with injuries. I think that's one of the main reasons why they're bad. And their goaltending kind of sucks. They have 26 points on the year. And good old Chicago Blackhawks with 24 points. Chicago and Columbus and Anaheim. 3 worst teams in the league. Teams with probably the best possible chances to get Connor Bedard. So, like I said, I don't know. This team just oozes apathy. A lot of the fan base. A lot of the fan base wants them to lose. And this team's not losing properly. Like, a team that goes on a 10-game losing streak earlier on in the year. Now they're winning 5 of their last 6. Even though I don't expect them to win at all. I don't expect them to be better the rest of the season. No way in hell. It's just a weird time of the year because they're not playing teams like, better teams in the league. They've been playing the Anaheims. They've been playing the San Joses, the Arizonas, those type of teams. But when they play a team like, the Toronto Maple Leafs like they did last night, they got their asses spanked. And that's most likely what's going to happen when they play those types of teams. And if you're looking at the rest of the schedule, after tonight, you're probably going to be seeing the tier competition to get increasingly more difficult. You play Washington this Saturday. Well, Washington Wednesday and Saturday. Then you play Boston on Monday on Martin Luther King Day. And then you get a couple of easy games, technically, against Anaheim and Chicago. And then you get Detroit, Winnipeg, Los Angeles, Minnesota, Winnipeg again. So that's where the schedule gets increasingly more difficult. You go into February, the Islanders, Oilers, Predators, Kraken. The Kraken are actually surprisingly a really good team this year. So Kraken 2 times in a row there. Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Devils in February. In the March, Rangers, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Vegas, Buffalo, Carolina. Yeah, once you get closer towards the end of the year, they're going to be seeing a lot of tougher teams. The Flyers are going to lose a lot more games than they're going to win the rest of the year. I think this is just like, one of those bumps in the schedule where it's a lot of teams that are actually worse than they are. So I think once you get towards that later stages of the schedule, they're going to lose more, especially after the trade deadline when they make some moves to get some guys off this team. That's what I would expect at this point. But I don't know. I don't know what this team's going to do with anything in the front office. I have no idea what's going to happen with Chuck Fletcher. I just don't know. This guy shouldn't be even in the front office. This team still has no idea what they're going to do with him. Is Danny Briere going to be the next guy? I have no idea. I don't know what Danny Briere is at this point. I hope he's the next savior, best GM in the league, future of that type of stuff, potential. I can't guarantee that. No one can guarantee that. I have no idea what Danny Briere is. He was a fantastic NHL player. I have no idea what he is as a GM. No idea what he is as a GM. And I guess this is where we stand. This Flyers team, I still watch them every night. It's just hard to do recaps of a team that's not that good. Even though, like I said, in the past couple of weeks, they've looked better. But I think that's more the quality of competition than they're playing. Yeah, they play the Torts style hockey. They play hard every single night. They're going to give their 100% effort every single night. There's no talent on this team. Yeah, Konecny's having a really good bounce back season. There's a lot of guys that are intriguing on this roster. Carter Hart's still not the issue. Ersson's looked really good. But there's a lot of bad on this roster, too. And you're still injured to hell. Gauthier, is he ever going to play again? I have no idea. Atkinson, he's out for the rest of the season. Ryan Ellis is never going to play another game again. Ryan Ellis is just like a figment of our imagination. Dude never wanted to play here to begin with. Dumpster fire of an organization, aren't they? Year when they should be losing, rebuilding, to try to get the best player in the draft, a player that can completely alter the franchise. They don't bottom out. They were probably never going to bottom out to begin with John Tortorella on the helm. They were never going to do that. But it feels like where they're at right now, it just doesn't feel like it's the best position for the organization. They do have Cutter Gauthier in the wings, and I think he's going to be an awesome NHL player. They need more. They need more. Yeah, they got Cam York. They got some of these young guys that they can look for the roster for the future. They need way more. They need way more. Kept talking about a high-end talent in the offseason. You flubbed on that trying to go after Johnny Gaudreau. And like, I was fine with their offseason outlook. Aggressive retool, going after some big free agents, and you completely swung and miss. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm so apathetic. Because you promise us one thing and you don't do it. You say you're not even in on Johnny Gaudreau in the press conference when that was a complete lie. It was a complete lie. There were so many rumors about them being in on Johnny. They didn't want to do it. They just didn't want to do it. A guy that physically wanted to come. I'm not saying Johnny Gaudreau would have saved the season. He wouldn't have. He definitely wouldn't have. That's just me looking at what they promised us in the offseason. And replicating how I feel again about them now. You promised us this, and now we got this. Crap. Even though they're bordering around 500. Still watch them every day. Well, every game. Most of the time, they're background noise when something else is on. Like, if there's a Sixers game on, the Sixers game gets priority over the Flyers. Like, today, I'm watching the national championship game, Georgia and TCU. That was the priority television to the secondary television, was Flyers and Buffalo. But the national championship game turned into a complete dud. Georgia's smoking them. Like, seriously, like, this game is awful. Awful. That's how it goes sometimes. But yeah. This team, they know how to completely make you apathetic. They just do. Like I've never been so down on this organization. Like, if I were in a better mood, I'd be like, yeah, good for them. They're winning. I would love for you to try to make the playoffs. But I'm in such a... You're actually almost 500. In a year where it's a franchise-altering draft. Like, not just Connor Bedard. There's a lot of... This is a very deep draft. Of a lot of franchise-altering talent. But the main prize was Connor Bedard. And you're probably not going to be nowhere close to a position to draft him. Dude that's breaking records in the World Juniors. Breaking Lindros' record for Team Canada. You gotta be joking. And you're gonna be nowhere in a position to draft him. Just how it goes. Just how it goes. I see some of you guys in the chat here. Channeling, I would love to trust the process. I just don't. Renee, how you doing? Eric, great show. Sam looks like we definitely found our backup for sure. Do you believe Torts is going to lean on Sam next game? It's really depending on how Torts feels. I would assume he goes back to Carter Hart after a couple of days off, most likely. Do you think Provorov can bring in a first-round pick if traded? If they're trading Provorov, maybe you get a first-round pick, but even though he's going to be the guy that probably gives you the biggest haul, I would think with Provorov, you try to trade for like prospects or something like that. That's what I would do if I were trading Provorov. Coyotes need to move move north because they are cursed in Arizona. They're never going to move. They're Gary Bettman's baby. He's never going to allow the team to move. They're waiting for the agreement in Tempe and all that stuff with the new arena agreements, and they're going to be playing this college arena for decades, even though it's only like a 3-year thing, I think. Still, playing a college arena. Oh, boy. Philadelphia Flyers. What an organization. What a team. Doesn't know what to do right. Are they ever going to be competitive again as Georgia scores another touchdown to make this game even more embarrassing? I think they just did, at least. Maybe. I don't know. Will we ever see another competitive Flyers team? Team that wants to win? Like, seriously, I'm watching, like, Winter Classics of more exciting hockey, of better teams. I want that again. Like, I want to care that deeply again. I just can't put myself to it. Because I know what the product is in front of me, and it's not good. And I don't trust this organization to write it. I just don't. It's how separated I am with the franchise. Even though I'm still watching the games every night, I'm still in the press box every night for BrodesMedia, majority of the time. Just a completely different viewpoint. And I think my time in the press box is really like altering the way I view it. Even though I still view it from a fan's perspective, and I bring the fan opinion out a little bit. Like, this is the fan in me coming out. But I'm looking at it from the analytical standpoint too, just being up there in the press box. Like, this team is not that good. Like, yeah, they have some nice pieces there. They're just not that good. This team confuses me. They just do. But that's what they are. The Philadelphia Flyers. A team that doesn't know what they want to do. So I think that's what we're going to leave it off here, folks. Just randomly felt like talking Flyers today. Haven't done it in a little bit. This is your, I guess, monthly Flyers update for a little bit here. Maybe our next update won't be until the trade deadline, whenever that's going to be, March. So I thank you, everyone that decided to join this stream tonight. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'd like to see those as always. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description down below. Paint the Lines, BrodesMedia. I recommend all that stuff. Same thing with hitting that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate that. Definitely join the TTP Sports family. And also use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Use it for anything you can think of. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Once again, everyone, thank you for joining tonight.